Hey, how's it going, guys? HonestlySarcastc with the Hyperloops. As most of you know by now, 2 days ago, Saturday, played in the online Store Champs event hosted by the Artificery crew. Rathion was running it. Pro Yeti was on vacation, and Rathion did a very great job at getting everything handled. I think the event was a bit longer than it should have been. I think top 16 instead of top 8 was a very good call for making everyone very happy. I do believe it should have stayed as a 7-round event, though, because regular Swiss numbers indicate that 7 rounds would cover up to 128 people. So 7 rounds in a top 16, you'd have all the XOs, the X1s, and you'd have a healthy chunk of X2s. The 8th round, so Swiss plus 1, which is the 8 rounds for the number of plays we had, ended up having all XOs, all X1s, all X2s, and I think like a few X3s. And whilst in general I don't really have a ginormous issue with that, I would say it's better for the players that drop games. But it's the fact that we're going like worldwide, and you have that many people, you kind of need to try to take time into consideration. So like the entire event was done with the Pacific time pretty much being the main standard. It started at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So when the event ends 13 hours later, it's 11:30 their time. It's relatively reasonable. But if you count anywhere else, it starts to get a bit crazier. So like, I'm not making any sort of complaint. I'm Eastern time, and I stayed up till like 2:30 a.m. finishing up, and then half an hour winding down. But it's tough because like think of Game Slayer top 16, and he's in England, and I don't even want to know what time it was like by the time he got to sleep. Like he dropped I think in top 16 or top 8, so for him it was maybe he got to sleep at like 5 a.m. 6 a.m. or something insane. But no, it's probably not even that time, I don't even know. But so yes, a 7-round top 16 I think would have been the better play, but it doesn't really matter what I think. All that matters is that the event was run very smoothly, and people were very happy overall. It was a greatly run event. They increased prizes at the end after getting 90 people, when their original expectation was like, was it 40 or 50 plus as the top of their thing. So like, that's huge. They surprised with a saga set as a random raffle prize, which is kind of insane if you think about it, because the saga set prizing is almost as much as the first place prize. Because first place ended up with we figured out a split, but first place would have been 300 plus all the other stuff. So I guess you could say that first place would have been somewhere in the 400 to like 500 if you're counting like max quantity on all of the items for monetary value. But it's probably sitting somewhere around like 450, somewhere around there. And second place was about 150 less, so probably about 300 or let's say first was probably like 400 total cash and prizes, and second was probably like 275. But I don't know, it was very well run. Thank you, Arathian. Thank you, Artificery crew, Agent of Zion, for commentating. You guys have some of the oddest ways of looking at board states I've ever seen. What the hell did that Guavian just do? Hold on, we gotta stop the game. What happened? He has an ability, what? But, okay, so that's enough trolling them. It's a thing on Discord where they get pooped all over because they didn't know that one. It's gonna last them probably for at least a few months. But overall, that was good. So now, event-wise, there was a pretty healthy showing of the decks that I had labeled as Tier 1 and Tier 1.5. I myself didn't run into any of the raid decks that were listed in the 1.5, but it's I don't know what the showings were. I know that out of the 90 player field, 36 of them weren't on the list of stuff that they were like breaking down and explaining. So like that could have been, you know, like a Hut Plut that I know that Amanda from the Chansky brand, I played her second round. I want to say she ended up as 5-3 maybe. She was 4-2 after the end of the 6th round. After that, I never checked the standings again because I was already 6-0 and I knew I could just drop the 2 next rounds and it didn't matter. But yeah, so like the Hut Plus, so I expect there to have been like some race stuff in there, and it seemed like more of the better like named players were playing like either, or they're pretty much playing like emo kids. There were 4 of us with Rainbow Night Sister. One of them was actually a very close friend of mine that I've only been teaching for the last week. He played Naruto card games with me. It's the guy Yoda Z on the top 16. I think he got 9th because in the last round we played it out instead of me just scooping to him because he was automatically in. So it was whatever. Trying to think. So yeah, there was I think that the biggest showing was emo kids, which makes sense. From a regular like game point stand of view, they play well in most situations, and as long as they can prevent Anakin from dying, they can win like any match if you can't like burst him down round 2. Polmaz, they're good as always. The variations on it were interesting. So like there were big jumps on like the retreat version, and I want to say there was a Frozen Waste, a Cargo Hold, and probably Throne Room for the last one as the 3 decks. So I think they were playing on 3 separate different fields. I actually only saw I only knew 2 of the Polmaz decks. There was the guy who was running Frozen Wastes, and then I knew Reflex was on Cargo. But yeah, after that, it was AG with Rainbow Sister. Apparently kicked him off of Dooku FN, and he's joined the dark side of the Hyperloop Rainbow. I didn't give him the list or anything, so his list is different, but he's played against me enough to gain information on it to make his own variation. The Vader guards, there were 2 of them. There was a Vader Raider deck. I want to say the Vader Raider deck might have won the most creative deck list there. He was actually running like diversions, which are the 1-cost yellow card that eats a resource. So we went to game 3, and like he like diversioned me and like abandoned all hope me, and just, I have overall understanding of how to deal with resources or my resource management, so I was fine still. And I ended up pulling that one out, and then the next player was Funkar. I want to say it was like C Senso or CJ Senso or C Jenso. He playtests with Bobby Sapphire from our group quite often, but when we sat down, like he pretty much became aware that I'm fully familiar with that matchup, and it might have been like 18 minutes for the best 2 out of 3 or something to be over, because I had like round 2 kills on FN and multiple weapons, and he couldn't control me. Then round 3 was Taxter playing Phasma. Phasma Guavian Stormtrooper. That one might have been one of the most odd ones. So the game broke down to when I killed his Guardian people, he lost, and when I killed his Phasma as the first guy, he won that round. So then round 3, I just went back to killing his Guardians, and I pretty much crushed them off of giving up my Night Sister to get a resource. Like, I think I pinged like 3 times off of a Stormtrooper after he claimed, to get a resource off of the one Aftermath I had, which was kind of okay, but I missed some of the other options I had in the deck. Probably have to, like, the deck, I don't want to talk about the deck much, but long story short, I had Night Sister kill herself to gain a resource, and then I was able to go off based on my hand, because then I, like, killed his guy, untapped, got him, and then, like, continued, and then I know I killed the Trooper, I think, I want to say I killed the Trooper, and then either killed the Guavian or hit the Guardian really hard after, and then, like, went to Phasma, and he was having severe issues rolling damage on Phasma. I think I had, like, a small bit of removal in hand, but it was tough at the end. The rolls were not going his way. Then after that, it was Vader Guard. Prior to the Vader Guard thing, we did a split, where he had got, like, all the winning prizes anyways. But I didn't want to even play. I just wanted to stop. But Arathion and Agent of Zion had asked very nicely if we could just play, so that the viewers don't riot, I guess is how I'd say it, because people want to see a finals. They're not really accustomed to the normal stuff of what occurs sometimes in CCGs when you get to the caching and, like, poker and stuff. People just they split and they go home after a long day. You know, why take the risk? But so we figured out that split, and then I wanted to do just one game and go to bed, but it was just like, fine, we'll go 3 for the viewers. It's an online event, and, you know, we want stuff to be nice. So we played the 3. I think I misplayed very hugely game 1 at the end. He was showing 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, and I had FN with, like, 1 health, Night Sister with 1 health left but 2 shields and a Force Illusion. So what that would have done is it would have allowed me to excuse me, it would have allowed me to Force Illusion the 3 from my last 3 cards. The 1 would kill the FN, and then the 2 would pop my 2 shields. So then I would get to roll out Night Sister, the Z6, and Holdout Blaster to try to go for the win. If he claimed the battlefield and did all that damage, then I would have went, I think, so I the option there would have been I could have cast the F11D from my hand, and then go for the win, or I could just roll out, and then I think I had 1 pitch that I could discard to reroll. I hit the Z6 for 2. I hit the +2 on the Holdout Blaster, and I think I hit a blank on Night Sister. So if he did claim, which some people were trying to tell me wrongly, that, like, I was already dead because they forgot the Force Illusion can block prior to shields popping, then I would have had a 33% chance for killing Vader right there. But I went for the super long play of ping his 3. So the reason I would want to ping the 3 is that if he whiffed, I'd be able to block the 2 damage with Force Illusion, maintain my 2 shields, and be able to try to, maintain my 1 shield, and then have the reroll plus a ping to try to win. He still had 2 dice, so he could try to reroll into his damage to then kill me, because I would be short health. But I took the worser of the 2 gambles, apparently, because I shouldn't have just allowed him to have any damage and just went for the kill. Game 2 I won off of, like, boundless things, and game 3 most of you guys saw, which was a bunch of zany stuff. I optioned to claim with Vader having 1 health left and the Royal Guard having like 3 or 4 health left to go into the next round to be able to roll out FN prior to... Wait, was FN alive? Yeah, FN was alive. Prior to the force throws becoming active, because he had 2 down on Vader. So it was very important to take his 55% chance to show that, and the ability to just go kill FN and turn it into I roll out first, Vader dies, and then Royal Guard just gets cleaned up after. Instead, he Price of Failured, untapped, boundless, and I had a +3 showing, and he was able to go and finish me off. If I didn't claim, we would have had a war where I ping my IQA to try to hit the tour special to kill Vader, and I re-rolled at the end of the video just to see. It would have hit special, but I don't think there was any line of play there that was super incorrect. I didn't consider his mega play at all, and I'm pretty sure that I would do that same play again, because the risk there wasn't really worth it. I want to say there was 3 health left on FN, and somewhere around 5 left on Night Sister. So I could have gotten enough pings to go for the Vader kill, but I chose to not potentially just miss a bunch of times and have my Night Sister almost dead. Now that I'm speaking this out loud, I kind of think maybe I shouldn't have done that. I should have just went for the win, or at least for the Vader kill. But I didn't consider it, and running into the force throw was a safer numbers gamble in my mind. But oh well, you win some, you lose some, right? So let's talk about some of the round matchups, and like the tournament overall, the expectations you should see into like big events. So the numbers, I think, were pretty solid. About 25% of the field was running 9s, and we had 4 9s decks in the top 16. So once 25% of the field 9s, 25% of the field was top 16. There were only 8 total Pomaz decks, so it was less than 10% of... Wait, what the hell would 8 be? 8 be with 10% if there's 80. So yeah, less than 10% of the field was Pomaz, but 3 Pomazes made top 16, which is a pretty good showing, because based on like a 10% clip, it should have only been 2 Pomaz, so that they actually outdid expectations for topping. Everything else was just much lower, because there just wasn't enough room for everyone to have like plus percentages. Vader Guard, there were 4 of them total. 2 of them had made top. For Rainbow in general, there were 4 of them and 3 made top. But to be fair about that one, it was a couple of the better pilots made it with that. So like I probably could have in theory made it with any of the tier 1 decks I'd be playing. I might not have gone 8-0 though. And Architect Gaming did as well, and he probably would have topped with... He probably could even just top with Dooku FN, trying to ride on superior play skill to some of the regular people. But I don't know. It's still hard to gauge at a 90-person event, but you can more or less tell like player skill level. Will carry you a bit to the top, and then if your deck is very strong is the other percentage, because those were all tier 1 and 1.5 decks. There wasn't like a tier 2 deck like amongst them. And what was it? It was pretty much all villain except for Pomaz, and then Pomaz lost in top 16, I think. So yeah, is definitely a great event. It was fun. So like round stuff. The saying's still a bit weird for me, but like NJ Cuenca talking about the sea of jizz and running into random stuff the first couple rounds. My first round opponent was playing IG88 and FN, and that was a pretty interesting game. We he smashed up my FN like past half health damage, and then like I smashed up his IG-88 past half health damage, and this is both like round 1. Then round 2 his IG died, and I want to say my FN either died or just barely survived, and then like the game ended round 3. The round 2 opponent was Amanda from Chance Cube. She's a very nice lady. She couldn't talk on voice because she was in a place with a bunch of people, and I think everyone else was probably also playing or something. So there's just a bunch of noise. So she had to type in stuff a lot, and I don't know if that frazzled her a bit because she seemed off her game a little. She was missing like salvage stands and stuff, but like it was just kind of telling her that, and then like checking in on random stuff. But she did what she could. I like smashed her guy in round 2, and then the game started to. The game pretty much falls apart once I kill one of the guys. Night Sister is very strong versus any of the like the lower tier gamble decks and like mill decks because you're not doing damage. So Night Sister has a good 6 rerolls in her. Round 3 was a guy playing Anakin FN. Trying to remember the damage breakdown, but I think we had like smash each other up, and Anakin I think died on round 2 to I want to say like rocket launcher coming down and like shooting him while his dice were in the pool. Was it? No, it's actually, sorry, no, I lied. It was not Anakin that died. He had put 2 shields on Anakin, and then I think dropped a Force Illusion on Anakin, so I just went to go kill his FN. When FN died, the only thing that got moved over, I think, was a single Z6. And then after that, like, pretty much once Evan's dead, a lot of the cards in their hand become unusable, because you're not just going to, like, pay for an F11D and not have resources, because you're only going to get, like, the 1 roll, and stuff gets tough. So, after that, it was just too much damage coming down that he couldn't really cope with. My FN might have been at like half health, or a little bit, either half health or less when his FN died off of like a rocket launcher clip. So yeah, he didn't get to resolve the dice he had rolled out, and then the Z6 moved over. Then round 4 was round 4. It may have been Pastor Ian, who is another Vader Guard player. I don't even remember the match much, but I just know that like every round I was putting out silly amounts of damage. Yeah, because I'd played Vader Guard, Vader Raider, and Vader Guard again. So some of those matches are like kind of smushing together in my mind. So I honestly can't remember it too much. So that was round 4. Man, I need a piece of like I have this written down somewhere and I just can't remember. But like round 5, 6, 7, and 8 should have been versus Game Slayer was round 6. Reflex was round 7, and round 8 I played my friend Yodaz. Round 6 Reflex was on Pomaz, and I friends and low placed him, and his hand was like retreat, planetary, DL44, not planetary. It was retreat, DL44, DL44 thermal, and he had already cast a cunning. He rolled out Poe. He hit like 2 resources. He rolled out Maz, did not hit a focus, and cunning hit a discard. So he like resolved the discard and resolved something else. Might have been like a shield or a damage. And then like he was pitching to reroll, and He could not roll a special. He that thermal sat in his hand the entire game, and he could not resolve it. I was pinging with Night Sister since he no longer had. We were playing on cargo. Cargo? Hold on. He wasn't the Frozen Waste. Yeah, I think he was playing on cargo hold. And pretty much he wasn't allowed to resolve the thermal at all. I pinged, and then he 3'd and killed Night Sister, and I was totally fine with that. And I just went and the game was just not good for him. I ended up winning. He never resolved the special all game. The thermal sat in his hand all game, and Maz had switched out the cunning for a DL44 to try to get damage in, but his damage was not high enough by that point. I think I was going after Poe Maz, and he let me claim cargo hold to move his DL to Poe while I was trying to kill Poe. Then he had to early claim in a round to cargo the DL back to Maz, because I was going to go kill Poe. So his damage was lacking hugely based on his rolls just being putrid. So that was that. Then I played Reflex playing Emo Kids, and I want to say I just crazily shot up Anakin, and the match was just downhill. A lot of time I have round 2 kills on whoever the main guy is. I still stand by that standard of, under normal circumstances, you need to be capable of killing a main character round 2. Vader, Palpatine, obviously they have much higher health, especially if they start with shields. So that round 2 is just, you can't do it as easily, but you could do it round 3. So you have to be prepared for it. But all the 10 health character, 11 health character stuff, round 2 is the norm. So yeah, beat up Emo Kids. Then played my friend in the finals, the last round. He was not undefeated, he had 1 loss. And one of our patrons had jokingly said that he had bet Architect Gaming that I'd go undefeated, and that he had 4-to-1 odds on a $20 bet, meaning Architect would have to pay him $80 if I went undefeated. So by the time we found out that was a joke, I had already beat my friend, and I would have considered scooping to him if this was a 7-round event. Actually, if it was a 7-round event, I wouldn't even have to have played him. He would have been X1 in the end of the 7th round. But if let's say it was a top 8 cut, then I would have just scooped to him to get him in, without him having to ask me, because that's what friends do. If it's not going to cost you anything, there's no harm in doing it. But sorry, my play-by-play wasn't much better. This is 2 days later, and I can't even remember most of the top 16 because I was tired. I'm not saying I lost because I'm tired either, just so you're aware. I think I was playing on point. I'm just saying I can't recall most of it because it's not there triggering. But enough about the online tournament. Sorry if I had to talk forever. You guys were just get to the good stuff. So Gen Con's coming up. All 3 of us at the Hyperloops will be there. This is going to be great. There's a lot of good side events going on. I entered a few of them, so we'll see how that goes. I think I figured out what I'm playing for Gen Con. So I'm probably going to play some my choice 2 versions for the side cash events. I don't think I'll need to go play with my main deck in there, just because I've known for the most part what I'm running. So you can expect some goodness from me. But the Arthur with the X-Wars people, gonna have some good cash events. I wish their Sunday event wasn't looking like it'd be the same time as the top 16 of the main event, because if I top 16, I can't really play in that Sunday cash event, or the finals of the Sunday cash event. So like, I guess I'm kind of hedging my bet, but I really kind of feel like I'm just throwing my money down the toilet, because whilst I can't guarantee I top 16 Gen Con, I feel pretty good about it. 388 players gives you a lot of additional rounds, and it's whilst it's much easier to drop a game, you have a lot better chance of just doing well through the beginning rounds, because you'll be able to avoid the other good players. Stuff will get tighter later, but by that point you'll hopefully have very solid tiebreakers, and I'm hoping they do it like they did it for Worlds, where they did a graduated cut. So like, let's say we have 388 people, like 6 rounds later, or like 7 rounds later, they cut to like a top 4. Then we either go to day 2 or play like a couple more rounds, and then they have like the top 16. I think what they did before, though, is they did like, let's say 7 rounds, and then they cut to top 48. Then they did 3 more rounds, and reset the tiebreakers, and then they cut to top 16. So like, that method allows you to not be screwed over by early round opponents that go like 0-4 drop, and mess up your strength of schedule. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. They're giving out the I guess we call them Eurovator, for US, sorry, not US, for Gen Con, because it's the NA Nationals. I'm sorry, NA Continentals. And at Nova will be like the silly BB-8. Like, I thoroughly enjoy when they give away good cards as extended arts, and I really hate when they give away like bad cards as extended arts. There's a vast difference in value and like love for it. Like, BB-8 at Nova's like poop, and Vader at Gen Con is amazing. Like, come on, guys, get your stuff in the game. Give me my alt art like $21.99. Get that like foil stuff going. But I expect to see a whole lot of emo kids, a decent amount of Pumas, Vader guards. They're probably going to make a huge jump up, but with Flacid just winning this event. Still some Vader Raiders, old time tested and true. I think we're going to see a whole lot of Funkar. And the thing about Funkar is it's hard to, like, you have no way of knowing whether your opponent is playing Funkar because it had won the Euro Champs, or if they think it's the best deck, or if they just like to play control, or if they're actually like good with the deck. So it's going to be tough trying to get through a lot of Funkars. I expect a lot of them. So like, I think emo kids might be the biggest showing, and then I expect like Funkar to be the next biggest showing, and we'll kind of see how it goes from there. I don't expect Rainbow to be played by a lot of people. So like, Funkar has a much higher skill gap than Rainbow, but it gives you a better feeling when you're like winning. When you're ahead and winning, Funkar gives you a much better feeling. Rainbow just feels like a close call versus everybody. But I kind of took this. I think it was Owen Turtenwald who said that he had like a deck that he called like 45, and the reason he called it 45 was he said that it was like a 45-55 versus every deck in the format. But because of his play skill, he felt it turned it into a 55-45 in his favor, no matter who he played. So he played that deck, and I believe he won the event with it. I don't remember if it was like a Pro Tour, but I feel like it may have been. It could have been like a Grand Prix. I think it might have been Grand Prix, sorry. But he won the event, and actually, he might not even won, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I can't recall half of it, and every time I try to search that, I can't find it. But I remember him talking about it, and I always felt that was very, very interesting. If you can find a deck that is like 55 versus the field, but doesn't have like an amazing matchup, then it can be the deck to play, just because you have the capability to beat everything. If you have a deck where like you sit down and you're like, oh, I auto lose to Maz, like then you're trying to avoid this guy all the way to the top cut, then you're hoping you don't play it in the top cut, and if you play it, it just feels like an overwhelming loss, and I'm not a big fan of those decks. I'd be fine with having a deck that's slightly weaker than the best deck, taking your skill to pilot properly, but then never not having like a negative matchup. But at Gen Con, I expect people to see the clear difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2 decks pretty quickly, and the TTS event might have been the biggest indicator of not everyone plays a deck just because they don't have the cards. So TTS gave you access to everything, and there were a bunch of people still playing things like, well, I didn't see them, but like the Ray Chewy, you know, just like inferior tier like 3 decks, or like or even like tier 2 and worse. There's just like the decks that struggle, and they enjoy that deck, and that's perfectly fine, and I have no issue with it. They just have to know they go into the event and are going to have a much worse time because their deck isn't nearly as smooth and synergistic as some of the other options available. But overall, I expect Gen Con to be kind of similar to the top cut as what we just saw. I expect there to probably be about like 25 to 30% of hero in the top cut, with most of them running Ray, Poe, or Maz. Or I'd probably say like all of them will either run Ray, Poe, or Maz. And then villains just going to be all over the place. You're going to have your Vaders, your emo kids, and then, you know, your FN decks. And then if it's possible that someone sneaks in with like 4 wide, but you don't tend to see most of the stronger players play 4 wide, because it's kind of like playing a weaker Phasma deck. Phasma just does some of the stuff that 4 wide does, but better. Sure, you lose like the whole endless ranks thing, but Phasma gives you overall better control. You still have all the redeploy shenanigans, and you don't have nearly as many like weaknesses, because Thermal hits you for 9 instead of Thermal hits you for 12. Like Thermal's half health on like all of those guys. But we'll see how it goes. Come see me at Gen Con. I accept Steak and Shake milkshakes as forms of flattery. I am a large guy by nature, and I enjoy food. Gotta enjoy food, right, guys? But yeah, come see us. Say hi. You know, if you love us, we love hearing you tell us that, you know, you read the articles, and you know pushing us on to be great. And trying to think, if you guys have questions, let me know. I have zero intention of showing my deck prior to Gen Con and or Nova, so please don't ask for that, because it's just not happening. The Tabletop Simulator League, or the TTS Season 2, that was hosted, finished, I want to say 3 weeks to a month ago, but they're still working on videos from what I'm told, and I don't expect that to come out prior to Gen Con. At this point, I expected it way before, so I expected the top 8 to show like the initial base version of my Rainbow list, because that's how long I've actually been playing it. But that's not coming out, so somewhere after Nova, I'll probably just show the deck if I didn't, you know, like crush or do something insane at Gen Con where they won't let me hide the list and then that gets posted. But we'll see how it goes. Play it by ear. I hope to make top 16 and not fail fairly epically at that. But let me try to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I don't know. Just come say hi. see how it's going. I'm going to have a terrible time remembering names to scream names in general, so please don't fault me if I cannot recall you. There are a lot of people, and I work in retail, so I already see millions of people all the time, and it's kind of just a fading memory at this point. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble on, watching the scenery in the background from the windows of my car. Thank you for checking out the Hyperloops, being YouTube subs, Patreon subs, youtube.com/thehyperloops, patreon.com/thehyperloops, thehyperloops.com in general for articles. NJ Cuenca and Bobby Sapphire are pumping out amazing articles. I don't feel like most of mine are great in general. My writing skill is kind of questionable. But if you ever become a patron, I expect you to see the plethora of videos that I put out for gameplay and learning. And actually, I did forget to mention. So 3 of our patrons had actually made the top 16 cut of the Store Champs Online. I'm very proud of them. Want to let you guys know, Reflex, Warrison, and Yoda Z, that I'm proud that you guys made top 16. Great showing. We all still have some stuff to learn, but it was nice to see you guys up there. And yeah, I'm proud, guys. I'm proud. It's like my children, baby. You guys are like my children. But seriously, thanks again. Thanks for watching us. Check us out. Have a great one, guys.